Mamas, we gon' make a way. Got no coach on the field, but we making plays. Hey, look, don't worry, we gon' be okay. Hey, look, why? Cause we gon' make them pay.
What is the goddamn deal? Is your boy Marley Bets. This is Brothas N Bets, the MLB show, and I'm talking MLB. Of course, I got the homie Moose Money. What's good, Moose?
Man, how's it going, man? It's a good day today. Good day today.
Yeah, it's been, not too bad, man. I had a up and down yesterday as far as overall betting. Baseball crushed it. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
NBA.
We don't talk about that. We don't need to talk about that.
We don't do that here. But I did hit the money line on the Warriors, though. That was
you did have that. Yeah. But I followed on Celtics first quarter and Warriors third quarter.
And they both looked so great. And they both looked so great to start. Yeah. And I don't know, complete collapse. But I did hit the money line. I did go undefeated in baseball. So as well, you had another fantastic day in baseball yourself. Let's get to that really quick because we only got like 30 minutes before our games come on. So quick recap of yesterday, really fast. Moose Man, he went 6-1 out of 7 plays. Great day. I went 4-0, swept the board. Great day. We gave y'all 10 plays, 10 winners out there, people. 10 winners we give you guys. Other than that, I'm trying to make it as quick as I can. This is where we're sitting at overall for the year. I'm actually crushing it right now, and to not be the baseball guy. Moose climbed up above 500 after he just had a bad start. Now he's been coming around. If you look over the last couple plays, Moose has been lights out. So it's just that rough start he had the first week of the show. Other than that, I think we're both been crushing it the last couple shows, at least for the most part. We only got 30 minutes or so. So I'm going to run through this.
Let's jump right into it.
Let's go. First game we got on dock. We're playing this back after we had some plays on it yesterday. The Phillies, they're going on the road, or they're on the road in a series against the Natties. The line is for the Phillies. The run line plus 1.5 is at minus 1.5 is at plus 125. The money line is at minus 112. Natty's run line plus 1.5 is at minus 145. And the run line, I'm sure that's supposed to be the money line plus 120, not 1320.
Yeah, I'm hopping on that right now. I don't care what it is.
Right now, give me that hoe with a total of 10. James, my guy, was good. Yeah, man, it was a bad day. I mean, I took the money line with the Warriors, so that kind of saved me. But that first quarter, first half, yeah, they fucking just gave up. It wasn't even close the whole day. Moose, do you have a play on this game right here?
I don't. I do like Espino as a pitcher, but it's kind of what are you going to get from the Phillies offense versus a guy that could be pretty good. His career looks to be on the rise, but it's really tough to tell. You don't know if he's even going to be a national much longer. So I stayed off of this. The first game, which looked like it was a tailor-made over, actually went to the under. So I'm just not going to play this game. I didn't want to touch it. I don't know what's going to go on with what the Phillies are going to do in the second game of the doubleheader. But I would imagine they are going to be playing everybody. I haven't checked the lineups, but I would imagine that most of the guys are going to get their full workload even in the second game.
I took a flyer. Okay, so I took a flyer on. I didn't want to fade. Obviously, I didn't want to fade Philly the way they've been playing here of late.
Yeah.
But I can't go with Falter the way he's been pitching lately, or am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, you just, again, you don't know what you're getting from the Philly on that side. That's what I said beginning. It's too many variables on Philadelphia. You have no idea what you're getting there.
Now, when I looked at Espino, he's young. We don't have a whole lot to go on as far as innings pitched, but he does have a 2.08 ERA. And I did take a shot with money line on the first 5 with Espino. And honestly, it's kind of more of a shot. I don't know if I should. I don't know if I'm necessarily recommending it as a play for the viewers, but it is a play that I have. It was plus money. Obviously, we were worried about the bats for the Nats, for the Phillies, they've been hot. They're batting 253, slugging 429. I don't understand what's going on with the Nats, though. They're batting 254, but they're only slugging 318. So I guess that's the problem. You're gonna have to explain why to me one day, like how that works. I'm not exactly sure how they factor in the slugging percentage, like with all that.
I mean, there's so many factors that go on. The only answer you're ever going to get is probably at the end of the season, you're going to be able to figure out what was going on in the clubhouse. But usually you do see consistency over the course of the year. If you see severe home road splits, severe day-night splits, whatever the split might be, you will generally start to see that regress or come back to the mean. It'll come back to the middle at some point. But I wouldn't hate anything on the Nationals here. I just took a look at the lineup. You do have Soto, Cruz, and Bell all in the lineup for the Nationals, so that's obviously a good thing for you. But it really is, what are you going to be getting from the Phillies in terms of pitching production? And another crucial factor, the defense. Philadelphia ranks dead last in defensive WAR, or wins above replacement. They are, across the board, they're defensively inept.
Gotcha. Okay, like I said, it's not a small bet on because I wasn't sure what I was going to get, and I haven't really took the Nationals this year, kept up with them. But I did do a small bet on first five with Espino there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep it on going. We're on the Mets here. The Marlins taking on the. You know what? I didn't read no actual factuals or anything, but let's keep it going. I'll make sure I do that this time. Marlins and the Mets. The Marlins are on the road taking on the Mets. The Marlins run line plus 1.5 is at minus 150. The money line is at plus 135. The Mets run line minus 1.5 is at plus 130. And the money line is at minus 145 with a total of 7.5. On the mound today for the Marlins, we got Pablo Lopez 4-2 with a 2.43 ERA. And Carlos Carrasco 7-2 with a 3.80 ERA. A couple extra factors real quick before we break this game down. The Marlins, they're 6-3 straight up in their last 9, but 3-6 straight up in the last 9 against the Mets. 6-12 straight up in the last 18 on the road, but 1-6 straight up in their last 7 games when playing on the road against the Mets. The Mets are 13-6 straight up in their last 19. 10-1 straight up in their last 11 games at home. 6-1 straight up in the last 7 games at home against the Marlins. The totals have gone over in 13 of the last 19 games against an opponent from the NL and over in 5 of their last 7 games. Moose, do you have anything on this one?
I don't, mainly because I don't know what's happening with Pablo Lopez. In 4 of his last 5 starts, he's given up multiple runs, which is something that he was not doing earlier on in the year. And in some of those starts, it's not just a couple of runs; it's 6 runs. I'm sorry. It's 2 runs against the Astros. It was 4 runs against the Giants. It was 4 runs against the Rays, and it was 3 runs against the Nationals. So he's been giving up some runs. There was a really good start in Colorado mixed in there, but I do not know if it's just because he was used so heavily early on in the year or if there's been a league-wide adjustment to him. But I don't really feel comfortable backing him right now based off of his recent struggles. So I was off this game. I was looking at the Marlins side of it, especially if you're getting a plus half a run for the first 5. But Cookie Carrasco has pitched much better at home. He's got an ERA of about 2.38 at home versus about a 5-run ERA on the road. So Mets at home, really tough to go against them in any way, shape, or fashion if you are going up against the Mets, and they are at home. So I'm off of this. I did look heavy into the Marlins side, but at the end of the day, with the Marlins not really hitting all that well recently, I just stayed off completely.
So at the time I was breaking the game down, Lopez, they hadn't announced the starting pitcher. So I really couldn't make a side, pick a side, honestly. I was leaning over just because the Mets bats, they're batting 263, slugging at 405. And the Marlins aren't too bad. They're batting 246. I'm only slugging 399. I remember you told me if you're not slugging 400, it's not really that good. So they're
especially as a team. As a team, though, I mean, individually, it's you want to be around over 450 for the most part, but if your team slug is over 400, you're definitely seeing some power production at somewhere in the lineup.
Right. So they're at 399. But ultimately, I was looking at an over, but without Lopez in the lineup at the time, I was capping the game. I didn't really make a move because I didn't know my opposing pitcher. So
yeah,
decided to stay off that game. What about do you think what do you think about, because even though Carlos is pitching well, he gives up a lot of hits though.
yeah,
I
he
was looking
does.
at his hit production earlier today. But he has a high strikeout count as well. I was thinking about doing a strikeout prop. I didn't get to the window with it. But I was thinking about taking an over just because he gives up a lot of hits. He does give up at least three runs, almost 4 runs a game. The total is at 8, but it wasn't that low initially. I don't know what it was earlier. I think it was at 8 before they announced Lopez. I'm not sure. I don't know. Do you have a lean on the total?
No, not really. I mean, it would definitely be an under for sure, 100%. But come on, Mets and unders not really working right now for anybody. Unders with Lopez is definitely a trend you generally want to be on, but his games have gone over, at least recently. So I don't feel comfortable trying to be on a side or on a total or a side here. I would maybe lean to the under, but I'm not trying to push that narrative too much, basically because the Mets at home and you don't know what kind of Lopez is showing up. If it's the one we saw beginning of the year, you can basically put money on his under every single time out, but not in this situation, not right now. Yeah, he's a great pitcher. I really, really like him as a pitcher, but sometimes great pitchers will go through some kind of mechanical adjustment, and as they're making that adjustment, they're not as fine as they usually are, and I think that might be going on here.
Okay. All right. Well, keep me off of it, goddammit. Like I said, at the time of me capping it, I didn't have the starting pitcher at my book, so and I was being lazy. I'm sure I could have found it, but again, I was being lazy. All right. Well, let's keep it moving. No plays there. Next game, big division matchup. We got the Yankees and the Bluejays. I actually want to watch this game. I'm kind of excited to see this one. We got Jordan Montgomery on the mound for the Yankees, 2-1 with a 2.70 ERA, and Ross Stripling for the Blue Jays at 3-1 with a 3.14 ERA. The Yankees run line -1.5 is at +133. The money line is at -110. Blue Jays run line +1.5 is at for some strange reason I didn't write that there. Give me 1 second. I'll hit it up. The money line is at +100. That's what that's for. And the run line is at +1.5 at -155. Couple actual factuals really quick for the Yankees. They're 7-0 straight up in the last 7, 5-1 straight up in the last 6 against Toronto, 7-2 straight up in the last 9 games when playing on the road against Toronto, 11-1 straight up in the last 12 games against an opponent from the AL. Totals have gone under in 4 of the last 6 and also under in 5 of the last 6 against opponent from the AL East. The Blue Jays, they're 14-6 straight up in their last 20 games, but 2-7 straight up in the last 9 games when playing at home against the Yankees. 4-8 straight up in the last 12 games and playing against an opponent from the AL East division, and their totals have gone over in 14 of the last 18 games against an opponent from the AL, over in 10 of the last 10 games at home, and over in 4 of the last 5 games. Moves, big game tonight. Blue Jays, Yankees. What you got?
This is just going to be a good game to watch. I don't have anything on it. It's Jordan Montgomery, a lefty, versus the Blue Jays that just love to hit lefties. But Montgomery has faced teams that had really good righty-lefty splits and pitched pretty well. He only gave up 2 runs against the White Sox. He didn't give up any runs against the Angels when the Angels were hitting, and they were really crushing lefties at the time. It is good for him to face a team other than the Orioles. He's faced the Orioles 4 times this year, so it's not like he's seen a lot of teams within the division. But you don't really know what you're getting from Stripling. I know he's pitched really well, but he was a guy that's been converted from the bullpen, and it really is tough to expect those guys to maintain any kind of success because at some point their arm is going to experience some level of fatigue, and they're going to need – it's either going to be extended rest or they're going to need to go to the injured list at some point because they just start breaking down. So I don't really trust that Stripling's going to maintain his level of dominance as much as he has, especially against the Yankees. Both teams have been red hot offensively. The Blue Jays have been the hottest team in offensive production. So everything would tell you to the over, but the pitchers would trend to the under. I like the Blue Jays as a side just because they're home. I think that place is going to – I think Rogers Center is going to be rocking. And I asked the question earlier. I didn't really get an answer on it. I don't know how many Yankee fans are going to go up to the Great North and invade that stadium. But if the Blue Jays fans get that place rocking, that place can swing momentum better than any other stadium, especially with those kind of fans in Toronto. So it's a stay off for me. Maybe a live bet if I see that the Blue Jays are down only a couple of runs. But the Yankees bullpen is really good. So it's just a stay off for me. I couldn't really find anything. I really wanted to have something for this game, but in the end, sometimes you just got to enjoy baseball. I think this is one of those games, just sit back and enjoy baseball.
Okay. All right. I hear you. Oh, my God. I did not. Oh, I'm looking at something wrong. Sorry. Yeah, so I hear you. I didn't make a play on the side for all the reasons you just named. It was just too difficult to choose between Stripling and Montgomery, and the Yankees bat. Both bats have been absolutely hot and dominating. Both slugging well above 430, both batting 250. But like you said, the bats say to the over, but the pitchers say to the under.
Yep.
So Yankees have been trending under. I read a bunch of unders, obviously, but the Blue Jays have been trending over. So what I did was I went with Montgomery and Stripling. I'm hoping that he does at least last one more game. I took a first 5 under. I know it's scary with the bats, the way they've been producing here of late. But as I said earlier, the Yankees have really been trending toward the underplays as hot as their bats have been. They still been 2-1 against the Rays, 4-3 against the Rays, 2-0 against the Rays in those 3 series. Obviously, the Blue Jays have been hot and been smacking overs, but I took a flyer on the first 5 under. I believe I caught it at 5. So I just thought it was kind of high, but I understand why. I understand the bet. I understand the bats I'm going against. It's not the best play on the card for sure, but I still like it. Just based off what I was looking at from both pitchers, as far as their ERAs and giving up runs. So I took my chances. Moose. Moose, you're scaring me about my card today.
I didn't really like the card all that much today. I don't really have too many plays on it. I got a little too drunk last night, so I wasn't able to cap the card as much as I wanted to. But there's some plays, but this is definitely a tougher card. This is definitely, in my opinion.
Yeah. I felt good coming in.
I mean, I don't hate that under. It's just the Blue Jays versus lefties. But like I said, Montgomery has faced teams that had really good lefty splits, and he's done well. It's just none of those teams are the Blue Jays.
Right, right. Makes sense. I think we're gonna agree here.
Yeah, I didn't want to make the bet, but I mean, I would not be playing the over. I would be leaning under.
Gotcha. That makes me feel better. I think we're good. We got something here. Rangers, they're going on the road. They're in the series with the Detroit Tigers. The run line for the Rangers plus 1.5 is at -210. The money line is at plus 103. Run line for the Tigers minus 1.5 is at plus 175. And the money line is at minus 113 with a total of 8. On the mound, we got John Gray for the Rangers, 1-3 with a 4.85 ERA. And Scooble is on the mound for the Tigers, 5-3 with a 2.45 ERA. A couple extra factors really quick. We got the Rangers. They're 4-2 in the last 6 games, 1-5 straight up in the last 6 games against Detroit. 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games. They're playing on the road against Detroit, and their totals are going over in 7 of the last 10 games, but under in 10 of the last 15 games where they weren't the favorite. The Tigers, they're 0-5 in their last 5 games, 1-6 straight up in the last 7 games at home. And their totals have gone under in 4 of the last 6 games, Also under in 8 of the last 10 games when playing against an opponent from the American League West. Moose, got something on this one?
I do. This is one of the plays I got, and it's the under full game and first 5. And I did take for the full game, I took an under 8 and an under 7.5 because I had 2 books that both had good numbers on that. My under 8 I got at minus 110, I believe, and the under 7.5 I got at plus 100. So I don't see too many runs in this game. Detroit still one of the worst offenses in baseball. The Rangers do hit lefties better, but that lefty today is going to be Tariq Skubal, and I do like Skubal quite a bit. I think he's really continued to develop at a really elite level, and I just feel confident that there's just not going to be a ton of offense in today's game, whether you're looking at the first 5 or full game. So I took under first 5, and I took the under full game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Those are the exact plays that I have. You kind of brought Skugel to my attention, and ever since then, I kind of been riding. You also put me on the once you told me about their bullpen, the Tigers, I've kind of been riding their unders as well.
Yeah, and what's ironic is their bullpen has not been nearly as good, but the Rangers bullpen has. The Tigers bullpen yesterday blew it. They blew the game open for the Rangers, which I was so happy for. I got my run line and my money line on that, but it's the Rangers bullpen that has actually been better than the Tigers. But I still think the Tigers got the overall better bullpen. So just no way to look at this and not see an under. This is just clear under to me as many times as you want to slice it up. It's just the Rangers do hit lefties better, but like I said, that lefty today is Tariq Skubal, who just is one of the better pitchers out there. 238 expected batting average, 391 expected slug, 292 expected ERA. So all these numbers just point to an under.
Facts, right. I'm right there with you. Exact plays that I have. First of all, I actually took a flyer on the money line as well, just because I'm riding Skubal.
Yeah, it's just, again, are the Tigers going to be able to hit? They didn't hit yesterday, and that's the issue. So any Tigers bet does rely on the Tigers to hit a little bit, and that can be tough.
But Gray, I was like, I looked at Gray and I was like, I'm not scared of Gray. He's not shit. He's 1-3, 4.85 ERA. But yeah, it's not necessarily Gray. It's the Tigers' bats we're worried about. So
yeah, I don't mind John. I mean, I know there's some people out there that they like to fade John Gray, but I am not a guy that likes to fade him. I'd like to try to find the spots to be able to back him. I think he's got some pretty good metrics on him. His expected batting average is 237. His expected ERA is 3.78, which is a whole run lower than his actual ERA. So I think there's a little bit of a misconception about John Gray. I think he is one of those pitchers that is better than his numbers indicate. And you hear me talk a lot about pitchers I think are going to regress. I do think John Gray will have his numbers improve. I don't think he's going to be a sub-4 type of pitcher, but I think he can be a guy that pitches around 4.1, 4.0, somewhere in there, which is decent, but he's not a 4.7 type pitcher, which is where he's at right now.
Right. So that's it. Just before we go on to the last game, what's a solid ERA? What would you consider a solid ERA for a pitcher?
Honestly, it depends on where the guy is in the rotation. If you're talking about your frontline guy, you need them to have an ERA under 3.5. They just got to be a 3.4 at the most. You'd like them to be in the low threes, 3.1, somewhere in there. If it's a more back end of the rotation guy, you're fine with a 4, 4.1, 4.2 ERA. It's when you start seeing ERAs creep above 4.5. That's like, okay, he's allowing more than 4.5 runs a game, which sometimes you can see a guy that gives up a bunch of runs in one game. It'll inflate their ERA. But if they are true to their form, that ERA is going to regress, like I've talked about multiple times. It's going to regress back to the mean. And most pitchers, most hitters, they're generally at some point going to go to where their overall performance is. One good game is generally not going to skew your performance like it can in football, specifically football. Maybe a little bit of a hot stretch in basketball.
Too many games for that.
What's that?
it's too many games for
exactly.
that. You're
Exactly.
going
There's too many
to
games.
Right. Where football is 16, 17 games, two big games can inflate your average, especially for running backs, for sure. They have 2 or 3 big games that 4 yards a carry can look like 5.
Yeah, and that's one of my least favorite stats is the yard per carry. Just because like you just said, it can be a huge gain. Like Derrick Henry is, not to get too sidebarred here, but Derrick Henry was like the
we can talk
child
football all day.
for yards per carry. Like he would, the entire game he would get like 1-2 yards a carry, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter he just blows up and his yards per carry is like 5 yards, 5.7 yards. Like, dude, if you even watch the game for half the game, more than half the game, he was getting stuffed at the line. It was just,
but that's his game though, because I think what he does is he wears on you. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to hit him for 4 quarters. Those first 2 quarters, you may have him bundled up, but after a while, 4th quarter comes rolling around. You don't want to keep you don't want to keep running into a brick wall if you don't have to.
Yeah, and then he busts that 90-yard touchdown run, and now his yards per carry goes from 1.8 to 4.7, and it looks like a completely different day. So I'm not a huge fan of the yards per carry, but I do think in baseball, you look at the expected numbers. You look at WAR; those are some pretty significant indicators on how well a player is doing. And I use Baseball Savant. That's one of the websites that I use to check my expected ERA type stuff, the expected slug. And when you see the numbers are better than what they are for a pitcher, just like John Gray, that's a guy that you go, okay, back of my head, this guy's going to get priced for overs, and he is going to be more of an under pitcher. And then you see other pitchers like Madison Bumgarner that, and we'll get into this when we get to that game, teaser, they have numbers that look more towards the under, but their metrics would be more towards the over. And you can use that. That does work for a little while, but at some point those numbers regress back to the mean.
Right. Makes sense. All right. Final game. We got like 10 minutes for the first couple games to jump off. It's almost 6 o'clock. We got the Twins and the Dbacks. Teaser, as my man Moose just said. The run line for the Twins, -1.5, is at +125. The money line is at -127. The Dbacks run line +1.5 is at, why don't I have the line right? It's just rushing, I guess. And the money line for the Dbacks is at +117 with a total of 9. We got Smeltzer on the mound. He's 3-0 with a 2.38 ERA for the Minnesota Twins. And Mr. Bumgarner himself, 2-6 with a 3.5 ERA, 3.50 ERA. A couple extra factors really quick. The Twins are 4-2 straight up in the last 6 games, 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games against Arizona, but 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games when playing on the road in Arizona. Totals have gone under in 4 of the last 5 games, under in 6 of the last 9 games on the road. Those D-backs, 4-8 straight up in the last 12, 3-7 in the last 10 games at home, 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games at home against the Twins, and their totals have gone over in 4 of the last 6 games, also over in 15 of the last 20 games against an opponent from the AL. Moose, last game on the card, man. You got anything on this one?
I do. I took the Twins first 5. I took them on the money line, and I took the -0.5. It's what I was just referring to. Bumgarner is a guy that his numbers say that he should. His ERA right now is sitting at 3.5, but his expected ERA is 4.27. You look at his metrics, his average exit velocity is in the bottom percentile of the league. Barrel percentage is towards the bottom percentage of the league. Hard hit percentage is to the bottom percentage of the league. So it's just a guy that I expect is going to start seeing a lot of regression back to the mean. His expected slug is 476 right now. So beginning of the year, he was able to hit his spots. He had a little bit better velocity, but his velocity is not really held true. It has started to go back down a little bit more towards what we saw last year. And I do think that Smeltzer is the better pitcher between Bumgarner and it's the better pitcher between Bumgarner and Smeltzer. And I think the Diamondbacks lineup is far less superior than the Twins lineup. It's just a matter of who's going to be in there. The Twins have been hitting lefties okay recently. They were really crushing them about a couple weeks ago, but their last few times out, they have not hit them as well. Their OPS is 699 versus the left-handed pitchers right now, but it's still better than the Diamondbacks, which have a OPS of about 664, and their average was about 220. But the Diamondbacks are not going to be a team that hit for average. They're a team that gets on base and then gets the big hit. And that's what you worry about with Smeltzer out there, is that they're going to get on base and the big hit's going to happen. But I do think that the Twins are the better team here. I think Smeltzer is the better pitcher here, given Bumgarner's time in his career. And I do think that there's going to be some Bumgarner regression coming pretty quickly. And I think we're already starting to see a little bit of it, but I think there's going to be a significant more regression coming up. And I hope tonight is one of those days.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was actually going to ask you, what do you think about the run line? I already jumped on the money line. So when I was looking at Bumgarner over there, I know his ERA is at 3.50, but I feel like that's not. I don't know. What do you say? You didn't say inflated numbers. What do you say his numbers are going to regress back to the mean?
Yeah, he's got his ERA right now is 3.5, and his expected ERA is 4.27.
Right, and I feel like that's where he is as a pitcher now, 4.27. I mean, I think he still has the fancy name. Bumgarner. It's kind of hard to forget that name, and we remember those Giant days where he was, winning championships and was dominant. But that's not the guy out there for the D-backs right now. And on top of that, these guys, they're only batting .217, slugging at .377. So I always just got that 400 number as a team stuck in my head from talking to you. And I just think the Twins are a better team.
Yeah, honestly. And you got both Bucks and Correa in the lineup, and those two guys in the lineup together, I really like how their lineup stacks up, especially with Luis Arias, who's really coming on. I just checked the lineup, and both those guys are in. Arias is hitting sixth as well. He's usually even their leadoff guy, but I think that the Twins they're gonna hit Bumgarner, and if their team total wasn't like 4.5 at like -130 and -135, I probably would have been somewhat on a 4.5 type play, but it was priced out of it. So Vegas is telling you they expect Bumgarner to get hit a little bit, and their bullpen, the Arizona bullpen, has been one of the worst in baseball the last month or so. Their ERA the last month or so has been 4.75. The only thing that kept me off of it was that the Twins bullpen ERA is 3.92. So it's not like it's been significantly better. It's just been better. 3.9 versus whatever it was for Arizona, 4.75.
Okay. All right. So we're in agreement there. I wanted to ask you about, let me see what I wrote down here. I was thinking about a Marlins team total over, just because your boy Carlos, we were talking earlier in the Mets game, he gives up a lot of hits.
Yeah, but it's at home. He does pitch better there. The hits don't necessarily always translate to runs. I do like how his metrics look. I do like when I've seen him pitch. I do like what I've seen. But just like any other pitcher, you can always lose it. His walk percentage is pretty elite. He does not walk guys. His expected batting average is 260, 261. Expected slug is 426. It's just, I don't expect the Marlins to really just turn it around because of Cookie Carrasco. The Marlins, the last 15 days, have hit 227 with a 683 OPS. So it's not like they're one of the top teams in the league hitting. I think they hit better away from home than they do at home. But I still really wouldn't try to pursue a Marlins team total unless I had a different pitcher on the mound or if I was facing probably a different team.
Gotcha. We didn't cap this game on a card, but I took a chance with Waka over Adam Wainwright in the Cardinals. What do you think about that?
It's like they're both the same. It's like the same type of pitcher. It's that Spider-Man.
I know. That's what I was.
Hey, me, you. It's like they're the exact same dude. It's crazy to think that they were teammates for a while because they just look so identical in terms of how their repertoire looks. They both have that big curve. They both don't throw that hard. Their expected batting averages against opponent is still both really good. They induce a lot of soft contact. So I don't know. I couldn't really make a play on that game because of that. I don't really want to fade Wainwright. I don't really want to fade Waka.
No, I didn't want to fade Wainwright either.
Yeah, it's just I think both are going to see some kind of regression here. The metrics don't necessarily say that, but I think as the weather warms up, there's going to be they're going to be giving up some runs because as veterans, sometimes they try to tinker around and that can lead to some really big innings. I don't really want to count that happening here one way or the other. So I just stayed off of that. If you see two pitchers and they're identical, and then you look at the lineups and they're awfully similar in terms of how they're structured with their superpower, I couldn't really make a play one way or the other. I thought maybe a series play on St. Louis, but I couldn't even pull that either.
Moose, my boy, if y'all heard my phone, that's my phone going off our group chat, Brothas N Bets group chat. That boy say, "Hey, that white boy on point." He say, "Moose money bets." Hey, that white boy on point. Moose money bets. So shout out Gambling G. That's Gambling G. Yeah, man. Moose is when it comes to information that you're gonna get on this show, Moose is on point with it. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of, and that's how I used to view Jimmy's show. Regardless of the records or the picks, I used to tune in for the information.
That's what's key, man.
I'm saying that's what's most important. You make your own decision. You got to press that button at the end of the day on it to accept that bet or not. But what you're gonna get is factual information here, especially Moose, man. That's why I appreciate you coming on, because I can ask questions like I always tell everybody when we do the baseball show. Baseball is it's my third sport that I cap, behind actually fourth if you separate college and NFL instead of just counting it as football. So you got college, NFL, basketball, then baseball for me. So I appreciate the knowledge that you come on here and drop for us, man.
Dude, that's a key thing too, is just being able to have that information. But a lot of it is also figuring out, like, okay, what is this person looking at to get them to that play? Because there might be certain things that you never consider, whether it's like expected average or whether it's WAR or reverse splits, whatever it might be. There's certain things that you just don't think about. And all of a sudden, it just puts that in your brain, and you're a better now because there's more variables that you're going to look at.
What's up, Coach? Yeah, that's exactly. You hit the nail on the head right there, Moose. Coach, you got an echo. You hit the nail on the head right there. As far as you come on here with information that I would never think to even look up, and that's what I feel makes me a better capper. Like I always say, I tend to go look up the ERA, the pitchers. I'll look at the batting average. I'll look at slugging. I'll look at totals, mostly last five, because I'm kind of a what have you done for me lately guy, rather than totality, because there's so many games in baseball. People get hot, people get cold, and I'm big on trends. I tend to follow the trends with baseball more than anything. So when you come on here and you're giving bullpen, like I don't even necessarily know all the places to get the best bullpen information. So those are areas that I definitely lean on you for.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm here, man. I have 15 tabs that I go through. Like every time I cap a game, I usually have about 11 tabs open that are going through all the various things, because it's one of those things that, Marley, you just said it. There's certain things that I've heard over the course of my time as a bettor that just lead you to go, hey, I thought about this. Let me just go figure that out real quick, because I'd hate to place a bet and then within the first 5 minutes of our broadcast, the announcers say something about that stat that I thought about but didn't look up, and they're like, oh, they're really good against this one thing, and they really like curveballs, and this curveball pitcher features it. So those are things that it just helps to know, and it's something I didn't really do in the past, and I do it more in baseball now. But football, I'll rely on guys like yourself. I'll rely on people, especially in NBA and basketball. Like, dude, I needed all the help. I needed them to point me to Ken Palm and Bart Torvik. Like, I needed that help. Like, I had no idea about that shit, man. Like, it was just like, that team has taller dudes, so they're better. Like, it was just stupid, simplified breakdowns that made no goddamn sense. And it took a long time to be able to learn what it is you should be looking at and how you use that information appropriately.
Oh, we're gonna crush football season. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I need the help on NFL. I suck at NFL.
What's up, Coach? Coach, can you hear me?
Y'all having a hell of a Friday show. I had to get on here. Can you hear me? I can
Yeah. I got you.
I just had to get on here, show love. Money Moose in the building. I haven't met him, but I had a question for you, my G.
Yeah, what's up?
What's up with these Astros tonight? I got to bounce back. I lost 700 last night. I got to bounce back today. Astros, White Sox. What's the play?
Oh, I stayed off. That was scary.
Yeah, I was off of that one. It's what Giolito's showing up. You just have no idea. That dude has been all over the place with his starts. He's got the stuff. The 100%. He's got the stuff. It's just a matter of what's showing up. You look at his metrics.
Ace last year.
Yeah, he was the 8. I mean, he was like the unquestioned ace. He was every time out. He was just phenomenal. This year, not so much. He's definitely, for some guys, he's been a fade, and he's been a fairly successful fade. His expected batting average is 255. His expected slug is 488, which is not good. His expected ERA is 4.65. So it's definitely an Astro side. It would definitely be an Astro side. It's just a matter of what Giolito shows up, because he also has games out there where he'll go 6 innings, give up 5 hits, 1 run. He did that against the Red Sox right when the Red Sox were getting really hot. He went in there and shut them down. He's done that kind of stuff before. I would be on the Astros, but I really couldn't do it because Valdez is a lefty. The White Sox hit lefties. That's kind of one of the things they do. They're pretty known for that. So it was just a stay off from me. I couldn't find my way onto it one way or the other. Maybe an over, maybe the Astros. But if I was playing something from that, I would be on the Astros full game, allow the White Sox to bullpen to blow it. But it could also be a situation where if the White Sox get a lead early and it's only a couple runs, live bet the Astros, because the Astros bullpen is significantly better than the White Sox bullpen.
The problem I had with the game and why I didn't put it on the card is, and we talk about this every time, because I always put the Astros on the card for the most part. And I say this every time we put them on the show. Which bats are going to show up? We have nights where we look like we're a fucking World Series contender on the batting side, and then we have nights where we look like we're a bottom feeder. So it just depends, like he said, which gelato you get, which Geo you get, and which bats are going to show up for the Astros. I mean, they're like fucking night and day sometimes swinging the bat. So I stayed off too. Plus, I'm biased toward the Astros. So, we always, I know you probably is too, we always want to lean Astros.
I'm going to take that run line, man. But shit, you just... And that's why I came on the show, because he reminded me. White Sox hit good against lefties, man, and that is scary. So
I kind of like that overplay, but you got 2 good pitchers. That's the only thing.
That Astros 4.5. Oh my goodness, it looks sexy.
Team total over.
Yeah.
It's just like he said, which Geo you go get. I mean, sometimes he's like an ace. I mean, he's 4-2 with a 3.88 ERA. So, like you said, which Geo you go get?
That 8.
I don't play Astros
sitting at an 8.
I only play Astros unders, and so I stayed off because our bullpen is so dominant.
So,
like you said, if you get to the bullpen, you got action. I like the live look. Like if you catch them within striking distance,
that's probably the best bet.
Yeah, I like the live look, honestly.
So what's the play of the day? I got to bounce back from yesterday. The people, there's several people in the same
me, I'm gonna let Moose. He the expert. So, but if you ask me,
I got Moose.
I don't have players. If I
hold on, Moose, I want to see if you agree with me. That's why I wanted to go first. I want to see if you say the same thing.
Sorry. Go ahead.
If we did have a play, I know you said you. I heard you say we don't have a best bet. But if we did give a best bet today, I would say Detroit under as the best bet of the day.
Yeah, I think I would say the exact same thing. I don't do best bets. If I put money on it, I believe in it wholeheartedly. But yeah, ditto. Same thing, just exactly what Marley said. It would probably be the under in the Tigers Rangers. I do like the Twins first five as well. I do like that. I do like that. The money line was, I think, minus 120. That's not a bad price to pay for a first five. You get that tie, it's a push. But I also did sprinkle a little bit on that run line as well. I think it was plus 120. So it felt like good money, but I got a good price on that under too.
I got the lines right here. Okay. I can give the Twins. The Detroit under 8 is at minus 115, and the Twins money line right now is at minus 127. The first 5 money line for the Twins is at minus 120 still. I don't think. Yeah,
I just took it. I just took it not too long ago.
What do you feel about the minus half a run at plus 110?
I took that too. At plus 120?
I'm looking at plus 110 right now.
Oh, I got plus 120.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I was on that.
What the Tigers?
I do like that. But again, it's a lot of it. I
like the Bumgarner. Which Bumgarner? But the Dbacks bats are just awful.
Yeah, but they've done the same thing all year long. They will not hit for average, but then they'll get a bloop and a blast, and they got a couple runs on the board. They are just notorious for having that big hit, like that big run inning. And I don't think the Diamondbacks are really all that threatening. There is Ketel Marte is questionable today. I'm not sure. Actually, I could find out real quick if he's in the lineup, but their lineup is not deep. It's not a lineup you go, oh my goodness, they got so many big bats in that lineup. It's Ketel Marte, maybe David Peralta, and Marte's not even in. Ketel Marte's not in. So that helps that Twins bet quite a bit because he's one of their better bats, if not their absolute best bat. So again, I do like.
You say Bumgarner? He's pitching today for the D-backs.
Yeah, Bumgarner's pitching.
We paid Bumgarner.
Yeah, I'm fading him. He's one of my fade guys. I know that I think on Jimmy's show earlier they were talking about him as a guy to bet on. I am not in that camp. I am aggressively on the other side.
I am 2-6. I don't know how is he bet on.
He's pitched well beginning of the year. He was really good first fives for people that took the plus half a run. It's like it would be like a 2-2 game, and you'd win those because you have that half a run. I know Cab has done it. I know Cab made some money off of Bumgarner earlier in the year, but I don't see it. I just do not see the guy sustaining his success here. I'm betting literally that he is going to be regressing here, and I probably will be fading most of his starts. When I saw his name, I salivated a little bit, going I think these teams are going to start hitting him, and all of a sudden he's going to have a back injury, and he's going to have to sit down for a while.
Yeah, I'm fading them too. I mean, the last
good information. Marley's stupid.
Marley, what?
No, I'm saying Marley's stupid, man. But hey, I have no choice now. I'm gonna ride with these Twins on the run line. What did I do? I'm gonna run with the. Nah, you know what you just did.
You talk about in the chat. Oh, you talk about in the chat.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm gonna step away, man. Hey, Money Moose, nice meeting you, man. I appreciate you holding it down on the show. I appreciate that information. Look like I'm gonna take these Twins with the run line. Got to make that money back. So
there you go. Let's do it. Let's cash.
I'm out, fellas.
All right, Coach.